The officer's going to put a thing on me. I'm not going to talk very long, my friends. Just hang on to that for now, okay? So from this room and from our team right now, we're gonna expand around the globe, no question about it. We know you all know people somewhere. The people that yet to come into this business know somebody. So yeah, my dream for everybody in this room is for you all to be free from your job, your position or whatever, so you can be free to do what you want to do when you want to do it, okay? And if I talk to a lot of people every day, today, I even contact 3 or 4 people, and they all want to do what I do. And I never want to do what they do. And you know the profiles of success and all the diamonds I met over the years, they never wanted to quit Amway and become a doctor or become an engineer or own another traditional business, because they all come from those backgrounds into our business. The world comes into our business. No, not everybody stays, not everybody succeeds. That's personal preference and choice. That's the way it's supposed to be. Not everybody's going to succeed in everything in life. They can, but they choose not to, and that's what it's all about, choice. So you made the right choice tonight. You're all here, right? So we can have a great time, can we? Yeah. Fantastic. Now, there's my beautiful wife of 45 years come April 8th, okay? I can't get this wrong. Her name is Lorraine, if you don't know her, okay? And we got a couple of platinums with us this evening. The rest of them are Regina, but we got Mike and Lori Bourgeois with us, and some go-getters with us, and a lot of up-and-comers, go-getters. So we're going to welcome you all, and we're going to have a great night, okay? And we know some of you are doing some great things who are here. We've been in some of your living rooms and dens, and we see what you're doing, and we're proud of you, okay? We're proud of your work effort, your commitment to this business, because it is one of the finest businesses in the world, okay? And to really understand that, I go back many years. We've been in business 32 years, and you know, I know the founding fathers, Rich and Jay. I know them personally, okay? Jay has passed away since, but I know the foundation of this business. Even before Amway, when it was Nutrilite, when Rich and Jay in 1949 got into Nutrilite, okay? And Nutrilite goes back further than that with Carl Renberg in early 1900s. So this business carries a long tradition of success, okay, for people, and caring and loving and nurturing and helping people. It's decades and decades, okay? Yeah, Amway since 59, 52 years, but you know, the tradition of Rich and Jay and what they brought to this business and what we can carry forward into, I mean, there's no telling what can happen, really, okay? So I see big things for you in this business, and that's great, okay? And so together, Team 212, we can do it, can we not? Yeah. Okay? We're glad to have you here. Like I say, if Calgary, some of the Calgary people came up, most of them, I think. Okay, Rob, right? Bernard? So welcome. And it's going to be warm in here tonight. Take your shirts off. Loosen your ties. That's fine. Gals, be careful what you take off now, okay? But you guys can kind of loosen your ties and everything, all right? Okay? So we have 4 CDs that are for sale over here. You know, the contacting and inviting, making a list of names, contacting and inviting, showing the plan, and the next 90 days, getting your business started. They're for sale there, $4 each if you care to buy those. In the future, we'll have more CDs. You all know about Team 212 website, okay? And when I close tonight, I'm going to announce the next exciting function, okay? It's going to be really exciting. Looking forward to that. I just hope the weather holds up for us, okay? But it's going to be fun. We're going to have a fun time, no question, okay? I don't know, is our guest speaker, is Brad here? I know Mike went to get him. I don't know where he is. I really got nothing to talk to you about, okay? I see you every month or more. So, yes, sir. We're going to do that for sure. We're going to do that. We might as well do that now. You're right. I think so. Why don't you all stand up and face the crowd, okay? Okay? We're proud of you guys. We're proud of you guys. Absolutely. Congratulations, you guys. Quickly, your name.
Josh Lang from Camrose. Upline is Alan and Renee De Silva.
Alan De Silva.
And Renee.
And Renee. Upline Mike and Laurie Bourgeois from Edmonton.
Joan Huber.
Robert Huber. Upline Mike and Laurie Bourgeois.
Let's give them a hand. Congratulations, you guys. You guys are awesome, okay? Very good. Okay, we're streaming this to the online. You guys from Saskatchewan and Manitoba, some in BC, I know. Okay, I don't know where else you're from, but wherever else you're from, welcome to this live Ustream broadcast. And technology is going to take over the world. You all agree? One day we're going to be sitting in rooms of 1,000 people. The main event might be in Taipei or something, or it might be in Bangkok, Thailand, or wherever. We might have 10,000 people in the Coliseum because they're local, but you guys might see this function for your upline put on there because, well, you'll have people there, okay? And if you're diamond or emerald and above, you'll be speaking there. The rest of you will see it at a live conference facility here in Edmonton or Regina or Manitoba or Vancouver or Victoria, wherever you're at, okay? Now, I don't know if you can see all that, but it's possible. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe in, you can achieve. Isn't that right? So, yeah, absolutely. So let's, we always talk about dream big. If you're going to dream big, right? Let's look into the future. I always see things not as they are, but as they can be. This is it. I'm not happy where we're at. Nobody should be, okay? But I see it a whole lot better, and we can do that. We can make it a whole lot better, can't we? Not only our businesses and our lives, but the lives of future people. Tens of thousands of people yet to come in this business. Real quickly, Lorraine and I, when we got in the business, she was ready to divorce me, for God's sakes, right? Well, an alcoholic going nowhere fast, I guess, who wants to live with an alcoholic going nowhere fast, right? And no woman wants that for a future, for a family, does she? But thank God, because of this business, okay, we met the right, guess what? The right company, the right products, the right people, the right association, and here we are. We come together, okay? Now, we never have alcohol at these meetings. We have conferences weekend. We don't serve wine with our dinner. We don't need that stuff. We're already fired up like crazy. We don't need a drink. What do you need a drink for? Right? That's for the rest of the world. I see those people every day. They ain't going anywhere. Okay? It's okay privately if you want to have a drink, okay? But we don't do that, okay? Women dress like women, men dress like men. We're professional, okay? Is that exciting or what to you new people? That, you know, I fell in love with this business, the people in this business, because they had some courage and a dream, and they represented what I believe in, okay? And that's why I'm here, and I hope that's why you're here, okay? Make sense? All right? And so, it's all exciting. Great business opportunity. So for you new people who are here, we want you to make some money, join the team, but more importantly, contribute to the team. Be a go-getter. We encourage you, okay? Be a go-getter. Bring some new faces in here. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs help in some way, whether it's their finances, their marriage, their relationships, okay? To see the world in a different, better place. People need help, okay? And there's so many ways we can help them, okay? When I listen to the stories about Amway success stories, I mean, I almost get tears in my eyes because I see people who overcome to become because they got in with a group of people who could help them move from where they are to where they wanted to be, okay? So, we're going to have an exciting night. You all ready for it?
Yeah.
Y'all loosen your, it's okay to loosen your ties, okay, guys? It's okay to be moving because it's going to be hot in here, okay? And I had the distinct pleasure of picking up Brad at the airport this morning, okay? Hardly recognized him, okay? But he's cleaned up, I see, okay? No, I'm just kidding. He's always looking good, okay? But Brad and I go back many, many years, okay? In the business at Diamond Clubs and at Worldwide Dream Builders, mega meetings over at Coliseums and the whole Northeast there and so forth, so on. And not only have I respected Brad and his accomplishments, but this is a genuine guy, you'll find out tonight. And believe me, he's going to help you and I, okay? We're going to walk out of this room feeling better about a whole lot of things, okay? Especially about ourselves, okay? and he's going to tell you what it takes to be a winner, okay? What it takes, okay? It's going to be a great attitude session. Listen up, take notes if you can, record what you can, and let's go for it, okay? Brad, we're honored to have you here, buddy. Okay, thanks a lot for coming to share with Team 212 and so forth and so on. So we packed the house for you. We got a small room. We didn't know how many people were coming, but we got people listening by Ustream in other parts of these western provinces and maybe beyond. So, folks, I might as well get to your feet, okay? And help me welcome Brad Wolgamong. Brad, you awesome guy, you man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
You're awesome, man.
Is that for me? Can I turn it on? Is it on? It's on. Couldn't really hear it back there. Okay.
This is only for recording, I think. Just for recording.
Oh, right on. Hello, world. How's it going out there? I think we got guys online tonight from even Hawaii. There might even be a few crazy Aussies online from Australia. I don't have any idea what day or time it is there, but it's about 16 hours later in a different day or something. I don't know. How you guys doing? I'm trying to get myself all wired here. This feels kind of weird, but I guess it'll work. Okay, who drove the furthest? Some guy drove like 8-10 hours. Where is he? Yeah. Where'd you come from? Yorkton? Is that a town? Yorkton? That's awesome. Well, I came further, but it's great to be here. Great to be here. How you guys been? I saw a few of you, right, a couple months ago in November. So it's good to be here. Thanks, Frank, for letting me undo my tie. I don't wear these too often anymore. So I was like, oh, how do you tie that thing? You know, next thing I know, I couldn't breathe, and away we go. But it's great to be here. Thanks for the invitation to be back here again, and hello to all the viewers from wherever you guys happen to be. If this is your first time to be something like this, let me just lay a little groundwork for you so you kind of know where I'm coming from. If you haven't been to something like this may be a little odd or awkward for you, so I'll just try to diffuse a little of the expectations. Okay, let me just say that I'm not here to convince you to do what I do. I'm just here to share with you, okay? I'm gonna open up my heart, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's really raw. And I promise you that I'll do my best to not offend you, but I ask you to just give me a little bit of a break, okay? I'm not a professional speaker, even though, you know, I do speak all over the world, and literally all. I was in 6 countries last month, but I'm not a professional speaker. I'm a high school, barely graduate, okay? I had good peripheral vision, if you know what I mean, okay? All right? And so you got to give me a break, okay? Oftentimes people walk in environments like this and they kind of put their skeptic face on, like we're trying to get you or something. And I understand that because I've been to a lot of meetings, a lot of environments, and I felt that type of a scenario going on. But I just want you to understand that is not my goal. My goal is not to impress you tonight. My goal is to empower you. And that may sound warm and fuzzy, but what I mean by that is if we walk out of here and you think I'm a great guy, we don't accomplish much. I may feel better about myself, which would be nice, okay? But that's not the goal. Would you agree? To empower someone means to give them power. And my goal tonight is for you to walk out here believing more in yourself, more in your abilities, more in your gifts, more in your vision, more in the things that have been pumped into your life for the last number of years. And hopefully have a whole lot less of the negative baggage that we've hung on to a little bit. It just seems that a lot of us walk through life kind of backwards. You know, we're moving forwards, but we're looking at our past, and we're using our past as a guidepost. You know, we're like, oh, that happened, and that happened, and that happened, and that happened. And that could be negative or positive, agreed? That could be, oh my gosh, glory days, I was all this, or, oh man, what was me? And that's a real common scenario, isn't it? And I want to try to encourage you tonight to maybe knock some of that off, because I have to constantly do that myself. We're all in the same boat. We've all failed a time or 20, okay? Agreed? And no one in here is walking in here perfect, okay? And if you are, that's your first imperfection, to think you're perfect, right? And so we all got our stuff. And some guys say, yeah, but you don't know my stuff. I know I don't know your stuff, but I know their stuff. And I don't judge you. I don't measure you, because I believe in your future. I believe that men and women should be measured by their greatest moments, not their worst moments. if you've ever built a photo album on the online or any kind of a little old school like little photo album book, you didn't put your bad ones in there, did you? The lettuce in the tooth, the half me picking and someone happily got it, and you know, oh, your eyes are closed or red eyes, look at the devil or something. You put your good ones in there. So it's very interesting that a photo album we showed everybody we know is our good pictures, but when we carry it around is maybe not so good. And so I'm going to come at you with a message that's going to be a positive, encouraging message. And what's interesting is I've spoken in different environments, and I try to encourage people, and people say, what's up? What's the catch? What are you really up to? Why are you so nice to me? Now, if I came in and told you you're a jerk, and you're a scumbag, and you're a loser, and you're going nowhere, you'd go, yeah, so? But I come in here and tell you that you're a winner, and there's nothing you can't do to set your vision high, you go, I don't know, there's something wrong with this guy. It's human nature, isn't it? Years and years ago, I bought tickets to the Seattle Mariners opening day. Then I bought hundreds of tickets, okay? Which is a crazy thing to do, I know. But I had a dream of a long time of just giving free tickets out to an opening day Mariners game. And I took about 60, 70 of my friends, which was a cool way to treat them. And then I walked around the parking lot with these fans of tickets, right? Saying, tickets, tickets. Does anybody need tickets? Now, what do you think everybody thought I was? Wow, you guys are right on it, okay? You guys knew the answer before I even asked the question, okay? Exactly. But why do we assume that? Because that's what we've experienced in our life. So we think that that's the case. The reality was they were free. So as I'm walking up to a family, and they go, I ask them if they need tickets. They go, well, yeah. How much? And I go, are you guys a family? You all going together? And like, yeah, why? I said, then they're free. I'm like, what do you mean free? Nothing's free. I go, well, you're right. I paid for them, but they're free to you. I'm like, well, who are you? Like, well, I'm Brad. I'm sorry. I'm like, well, who are you with? Well, it's my buddy Jeff, but I'm not with him, okay? My friend, and we're just doing this, okay? And they're just like, well, I don't understand. I go, I know. That's normal for me, that people don't understand. And I had a heck of a time giving away these tickets. I missed the first inning and a half of the game, which was the big deal in opening night. You know, fireworks and the Jets, and I missed it. And I remember the last three tickets, was a father sitting there on a piece of carpet with two kids. And they were panhandling, looking for a few bucks. And I went up to them and I said, look, I got 3 tickets left. I want to go to the game. If I give you these 3 tickets, will you take your kids? Will you promise me, I'll give you 20 bucks so you can go buy some food and some popcorn. Would you take them to the game? He goes, really? I go, yes. I go, promise me you won't sell them. I want you to take your kids, okay? Have you guys ever been to a ball game? No. Okay, today you're going. So they went to the game, and we sat in this big section, and there was a huge bunch of us there, right? And I remember walking up, because I was one of the last guys to get in there, and all these people were like, is that the guy? That's the guy. Who is that guy? What is that? I don't understand. What's he up to? Must be a weirdo. Must be something wrong. And I remember all these comments coming at me like I was doing something wicked or evil. And I remember as the game got over, you should have seen how fast 70, 80 people left a baseball game. They were like running because they were still convinced, even the game was over, that I was going to come get them. And I remember because the little boy and the little girl came up to me towards the end of the game and offered me a half-eaten bucket of popcorn with a couple of her hairs and a half-eaten tamale in there, going, hey, mister, thanks for the game. You want some popcorn? And everybody else bagged and ran. And it was a very interesting lesson to me that by nature, we're skeptical. And I would just hope that we can somehow break that off. Because the world is a mirror. The world is our perception. Perception is reality. It is what we think it is. And if we think the world's out to get us, then more than likely it is. But the reality is it isn't. Are there bad people? Are there crooks? Are there scams? Are there weird things? Yes. But does that mean that all are? You know, my dad's a dentist. How many of you love your dentist? Just me, my dad. Okay? My other brother's an OBGYN. I can't imagine. Okay? But that's what he does. So if it's just because, you know, one dentist is crazy, does that mean my dad's crazy? If someone sells cars and they're a crook, does that mean all car salesmen are crook? No. Everybody's on an individual basis. Would you agree? And so I want to try to somehow share a few things with you that might make some sense, that might encourage you to reinvent how you think. Because the reality is, folks, you live how you think. And we think based upon what we bring into our brain. What we allow as input into our mind creates our thoughts, and our thoughts create our words, and our words create our actions, and our actions create habits, and habits creates character, and character is the signature of your life. The word character actually came from way back in the many years ago, from around 1400, and it came around the concept of to inscribe. It actually meant inscribed in stone or marble or wood. It was something so permanent that it couldn't be removed. A character is something so deep in our life. And then later on, I don't know how many years later, but a character became exactly what you weren't. If you're in a play and you watch someone, they're playing a character. They were pretending. They put a mask on. And they played a role. And so a character became a real character. It's very interesting how words have changed. But if you think about it, in a movie, if a guy plays a role really, really well, you're convinced that he's really being chased or shot at or run over, right? They wear the character so well, they actually live it. And so what I want to try to do tonight is ask you a couple simple questions and then walk through the process to see if we can bring it to life. Because I got to believe we all have the same goal here. I believe that goal was happiness, prosperity, peace of mind, and the ability to impact other people's lives. We all may have different paths. We all may have different religions. We may all have different choices of political parties. But the fact of the matter is, I believe that we all want the same basic thing. If I could have one thing in my life, it would be peace. I want peace. That's been the driving force of my life. And then I found the Prince of Peace. And my life began to radically be transformed. Right? And then I wanted love. Right? Well, what is love? Same thing. And so hopefully we can walk down a little road here tonight, and when we're done, we can all leave here with a focus to pursue our passions, to live authentically, to really find our true identity, if you will. And I really wish I had about 40 hours with you to share what's on my mind, but I got to shove it into what, 5, 6 hours? An hour and a half? Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm going to struggle, okay? But the fact of the matter is, in fact, I was looking the other day, the word genius, right? You ever have someone say, oh man, you're a genius? I've never had anybody say it to me, but I've had people say it to other people, right? Okay? When someone says, that really blows your mind, I go, yeah, for me it's a minor explosion, but it still blows my mind. But the concept of genius actually comes from the word genuineness, which means the genius in us, the genuine in us. So what I like to do is to come in contact with what's the real person in you. How do you really want to live is what it boils down to. If we're gonna walk down the road, okay, I don't know how many of you guys plan on living there 5 more years. How many plan to live 5 more years? Awesome. If you didn't raise your hand, I'm a little concerned. We need to have a prayer meeting afterwards, okay? Okay, can you even believe it? 5 years from now is the year 2017. Can you even believe that? I mean, that is awful. How'd that happen? Want to bring it over here so we can get it on the... They're not going to be able to read it on the screen anyway, so I just want to tip this sucker over. That's the biggest board on the little easel I've ever seen in my life. The question is, how do we want to live? Can we talk about that for about 5 hours tonight? Because I'll go out for coffee and we'll go to wherever we go, Boston Beans or whatever you call it up here. We'll go somewhere and have a cup of coffee and a pizza or something. And let's talk about it, because the reality is that's what life is, isn't it? I mean, I don't know about you, but I want to live. I want to celebrate. I want to be stoked every day of my life. I'd rather aim for Mars and hit the moon than aim for a mud puddle and hit it. You with me? Yeah. I want to wake up every day excited, in love, full of hope, full of grace, full of courage, full of purpose. And who's with me? Yeah. I want to live that way, okay? And I needed to find out how to make it happen, because I didn't know. The fact of the matter is we all rise and fall at our level of mentorship. No mentor, no future. I got to believe in a room this big, there's some of you that have been competitive in sports. And when you got good at sports, it was probably because you had a pretty good coach, a good mentor, someone who really helped guide you. If you got good at a language, you probably had someone teaching you. If you studied an art, it's because someone was training you, a sensei or a coach or a master or something. You'll rise and fall at the level of your mentorship, and most of us don't have a mentor that we access. And one of the beautiful things about being in this environment, if you happen to work with Team 212, is that you have a mentorship engine. You have a system designed to help keep yourself on track to pursue how you want to live. I was blessed to have 3 hours with Frank today. 3 hours, uninterrupted, him and I. Not only did we get face-to-face time, and I'm talking to a man that has a couple years senior on me, been very successful, been very wealthy, mentored hundreds of people, and to sit there and pick his brain, learn about his family, learn about they both came from families of 11 children, which is an interesting genius in itself. Just eating in a family of 11 kids had to be a sport. Let alone now there's 22 of them together because they both come from families of 11, and the radical dynamics of how do you manage all that. And then to hear about his kids and his grandkids, and allowed to be 10 grandkids. And then to watch him, this may sound weird to you because maybe you know Frank, maybe you don't know Frank, but I had a chance to just observe out in the wild, right? It was like a polar bear loose from the cage, right? Because everywhere we went, I would watch him engage in amazing conversations with person after person after person, and every place we left, they left better, happier, wiser, encouraged, and sometimes maybe a cup of coffee scheduled later in the future to talk and get to know him better. And I was blown away at such a gentleman that has a deep desire to add value to people's lives. And I'm not saying that just to pump up Frank because he gets embarrassed when I do it. But there's a tremendous lesson in life. The question I would propose to all of us answers, why are we here? Not here tonight. Why are we here on this big green and blue ball? Why are we here? Why are we living in the year 2012? Why are we in the second decade of the 21st century? Why? Don't you think it's really the question? I just finished Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And if you haven't read the story of Viktor Frankl, it is so stirring. I mean, here's a guy that had everything. And next thing you know, he's in a concentration camp, weighing under 100 pounds, where every day they would march down a line and there'd be a man in front of him going like this with his finger and go. And that determined live or die every day. This way goes to the building over there, the smokestack. This way means go work 16 hours with one pair of shoes and no shoelaces and freezing cold in the snow and go work at slave labor. And to see how he found purpose and meaning in the word suffering, which is the root word of the word passion. And as he shared in his book, it says the key to survival in the concentration camp, those that lived and those that didn't, were those that had a dream. And he didn't say the dream. He said those that found the meaning of life, those that had life after concentration camp in their mind, and those that thought they had nothing to go back to died within weeks. And he said you could see people die mentally way before they died physically. Benjamin Franklin said the most men die around 30, but they don't find the dirt until about 65. Why? Because culture has convinced us not to dream. Culture has convinced us that it's immature, silly. Don't get your hopes up. Oh my gosh, Brad, what makes you think you can do that? Oh, I suppose you think money grows on trees. How many of y'all heard those things? Are those just Americanisms? Same? You know, money does grow on trees, right? It's paper, it comes from wood, okay? It does grow on trees, okay? That's true. They just add a little value called ink, and next thing you know, it's worth numbers, okay? Is your money still paper up here? A little plastic in there? Oh, trouble. So that story ends pretty soon. But in America, it's still paper, okay? So, in any event, the fact of the matter is that most people have been told not to dream, to not get your hopes up. When they say money doesn't grow on trees, we think money grows on trees. What they're saying is you can't pick it, so you're never going to earn it, so give it up. I've heard people say things like, well, high hopes are just disappointments waiting to happen. You know who told me that? A 2-time cancer survivor. I was blown away. I'm like, what? Huh? How did you say that, and how did you live that? Completely battled the odds. Because the statistics tell us that of those that are told that they have cancer, a fatal form of cancer, and they believe they're going to die, they're doomed, 90% die. Of those told that they have cancer but believe they will win and they'll fight it and they'll beat it, 90% survive. Same diagnosis, 90% death, 90% life, based upon what? How they think about what they have. Now, I don't know what that tells you, but that's pretty radical to me. I've read the stories about the mother where the car was on the child and the mother lifted the car off the child. What is that? How is that possible? I've seen the hypnotists make someone stiff as a board and actually see them just literally become totally rigid. I've seen the power of the mind is incredible. And if you can survive the horrors of a concentration camp, where the average man weighed less than 75 pounds when he got out, and those that lived were determined by how they thought, it tells me something. The greatest investment I can make in your mind and my mind is in my mind. Taking the time and the energy to fill this sucker up. Because unfortunately, we are in a world full of intentions. And those intentions are to convince us to think the way they think. Are you with me? They spend billions and billions of dollars to convince us to think the way they think. Whether that be an advertisement, a magazine, a radio, a TV, print media, politicians, businesses, employers, coaches, convincing us to think the way they think. And I ask you, how do you think? What's the genius in you? What is the authentic person inside of you? If I were to ask you in the year 2017, how do you want to live? Can you come up with some solid, concrete, honest to God, I have to live this way answers? And most people can't. And the sad thing is that's because they've never been asked. I can only remember once in my life before I met some folks like Frank that encouraged me to think this way. And they didn't ask me how I wanted to live. They asked me to think about my future. And they said, Brad, do you want your kids' education paid for in case you can't pay for it? I'm like, yeah. Do you want your family taken care of economically if you can't pay for them anymore? Yeah. Do you want the cars paid off? Yeah. Okay, then you need a $3 million life insurance policy. And I said, okay, what's that? What's that going to cost me? Oh, it's, X $100 per month. I go, great. And then how do I get the $3 million? Well, that's the bad news. You got to die. They weren't selling me life insurance. What were they selling me? Death insurance. But yet it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry convincing us to prepare in case we die. And it's perfectly acceptable to have a vision and a dream if you die. But it's weird to have a vision and a dream if you're going to live. Can someone explain to me how we got bass backwards here? Okay, I don't get it. Okay, I mean, seriously. Why is that acceptable when we know it's not? But why do we resist this concept of really isolating a dream? When we've seen you've seen the same stats I've seen, 1959, Yale University, graduating class. How many of you guys have a vision, a dream, and a goal of how you want to live your life? 10% raise their hand. How many have it written down with a detailed plan and map? 2%. 25 years later, 69, 79, 1984. Surveyed that class. That 2% had out-earned the other 98% combined. It's a famous study. How does that happen? What is it? And why do so few people honor it? When there's statistics everywhere that input determines so much of our life. Everything. Smoking commercials are illegal in America. Are they here too? I don't see anybody smoking. The only time I see smoking sold is on movies. Because they got it approved before the government shut it down, they could still smoke but on movies and TVs, but you could never see it in a commercial, right? You never see anybody drinking alcohol in a commercial either, do you? The best you'll see is them sucking on an ice cube. Whoa, that must be vodka. Why? Because the government knows that smoking and drinking will kill you if abused. And so for them to endorse it and allow companies to show advertisement is like endorsing something that kills you. They know it. One of the biggest races in America is called the Winston Cup. It's like the Indy 500, one of the biggest races we have. They don't call it the Winston Cup anymore. The government determined it's too strong of an endorsement of smoking. So now it's called the Nextel Cup or something. Input is such a powerful thing, and yet most of us are so random. We're so random in our input. And the reason is because if you don't know how you want to live, you don't care what you eat. If you don't care how 5 years from now you live, if you haven't determined the things, your bucket list, if you will, that you want to have and do, and people get a little weird on this one, but it's something to start with. If you're going to write down some goals and dreams about how you want to live, you got to start off with a few things, like what kind of home do you want to have? What kind of car do you want to drive? Or cars and homes. Okay? How do you really want to live? And let's spend some time and spend some energy. Have fun with it. And you say, well, that's not that important to me. Okay, what is? And let's write it down. Let's get honest with it. Some guys say, well, I don't think a house is that important. Until you don't have one. Then they're really important. And I don't believe as we finish our life, we'll go back and measure when you die and we come to your funeral and we talk about the dash. We won't discuss how big your house was. We'll discuss how many people you provided housing for. We won't discuss how nice the clothing you had. We'll discuss how many people did you clothe. We won't discuss how well you ate or how much you weighed. We'll discuss how many people you fed. And that will be the answer we'll deal with. So when we talk about things, maybe it's not things for you, but maybe it's things for the people that you love. If you can't get excited about things for yourself, which I understand, I've had a lot. I remember when I was so broke I couldn't afford to pay attention. And then I wanted to have things. I wanted a car that started every time. I wanted a car the windows rolled all the way up. All right? I wanted a car that did not require parking on a hill so I could compression start it. I wanted a car that stopped when I turned it off. You know what I'm talking about? I wanted a car that I knew the brakes would work. I drove a 1970 Army Green Mustang and paid $500 for. The driver's door did not open. I got in the side door, I jumped in, I had a little side move, and I was in, over the stick shift. Every time. On carpeting that borrowed from a construction site and sewn to the seats. That was my car. I was working in construction, and I can remember going, this really sucks. I ain't going to lie to you. A $500 car, shattered windshield, had to kind of drive like this because someone taking a baseball bat to the windshield, but it was all I could afford. I had a small little apartment. I had grape jelly in my refrigerator. Top ramen was my primary meal. Right? 5 for $1. I could eat for a week on $3. I can remember, in those days, stuff was important because I didn't have anything. But I can also remember going, it ain't always going to be like this. It ain't always going to be like this. And the only way it's going to change for me is if I decide how I want it to be. Because if I don't decide how I want it to be, then someone's going to decide for me. So I decided I wanted some things. I want a home. I want a car. I want to travel. I want to have $50,000 in the bank. That was one of my biggest dreams I could ever possibly imagine. And I had like $5. I remember sitting on the ground on a big blanket on the lawn, writing down my goals. Someday, I want to make $5,000 a month, $50,000 in the bank, a Porsche 911, a home with a view. And I thought, you'd have thought I was like smoking crack to write those things down because I had nothing. I found that card not too long ago. I still have it to this day. And it reminds me, because I've had the 100-acre estate and the private aircraft and there's so many cars you can't find the stinking keys. I've been there. So I've had the things. I've not had the things. Things do not make you happy. That is a true statement. But neither does not having things. Are you with me? I think a lot of people go, I'm a minimalist. I'm a minimalist. What does that mean? Okay? It means I don't need much. Okay? And I can appreciate a minimalist mindset until somebody is counting on you. Until your kid sister has a major issue and you need to fund some help for that. And tell your mom and dad have challenges and no one can bail them out but you. Until there's a situation in your family or your church or people you love and they need some help, your minimalist thing is not going to get the job done. And the challenge with being a minimalist, and I'm not afraid to tell any minimalist this, is it's selfish. I'm not mad at you and I'm not judging you. I'm saying you are unable to help anybody else when all you're consumed with is how minimal I need. It's a justification for being lazy. And I'm not, oh, that was a hard one, okay? Hopefully there's no minimalists in here, okay? I don't mean to offend, okay? But I see it that way. And if you can see differently, we can respectfully agree to disagree. But I'm very passionate about assuming some responsibility to make a difference. I've asked myself oftentimes, how do you get that energy? You know what I'm talking about? That, oh, today's the day, right? Remember? Did you ever have it? Okay, it's hockey season, right? Edmonton's doing pretty good? They were doing good when I was here in November. What happened? They used to be amazing. Am I right? Edmonton won many, many championships back in the Gretzky days and Messier's, and back in the day. They changed the rules. They were so good, right? 4-man deal, go to full force. I remember, okay? Here's my point. There was a day when you could hardly wait to see what happens next. That anticipation, like, oh my God, this is so incredible. And when they would play at home, they were probably unbeatable. What is home ice advantage? What is home field advantage? Why do sport teams play better at home than they do on the road? Are they playing downhill? Do they have an extra player? Are the referees or umpires on their side? Not legally, right? Okay? What's the difference? The difference is there's someone in the crowd that they're playing for. Maybe it's the whole city. Maybe it's the whole country. I am sure that we gathered to watch the hockey game a few years ago. The game. United States, Canada, gold medal match. If you didn't watch that, you're not Canadian, okay? Let's agree it was probably one of the biggest sporting events in Canadian history. You'd already won 13 gold medals, more than any country, host country in the history of the Olympic Games, the oldest sporting event in the world. And a little country with less people than California is breaking all-time records. And your most loved sport, not your national sport as I understand, but your most loved, beloved sport is going into overtime. That feeling, what is that? I believe Canada won that match, that game, because they had more heart than the Americans did. When Crosby made that last shot, the last goal, and the explosion in this country could have been heard from coast to coast. I still get chills thinking about it, and I'm American, okay? Yet I was in Canada watching the game, risking my own life and limb. Okay? And when we scored just before the buzzer, I'm running around, and I thought I was going to get, in a restaurant. That was a really stupid thing to do. I'm really glad Canada won. I probably would have died that day, okay? But what is that? How can we personally have that feeling? How can we have that home ice, that Stanley Cup, that Super Bowl, that World Series, that oh my God, today's the day? When you know who you play for. And you own it. You own it. I mean, you own it in your heart. And I don't know what stirred you. John Maxwell says that all vision starts as a burden. So where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? And how long does it hurt, or have you forgotten? I think one of the biggest challenges in America, truly, is amnesia. We forget. I remember when 9/11 happened. What, 12 years ago now? 11 years ago now? And our buildings were bombed and it collapsed, and our whole country became a brotherhood. We were kind, we were gentle, we were caring, we were loving. Hey, brother, take my parking spot. No, take mine. You go first. How long did that last? In our country, maybe 4 weeks. Because we forget. It's amnesia. Now, I don't know how it works for you. But every one of us has been stirred by something. And it typically involves some people. My mother passed away in August, and she was the closest living relative in my life. I loved her with all my heart. I was a mama's boy. Although I'm tough, I was a mama's boy. I loved her, and she was my rock and my anchor, and she left me too early. I wasn't ready, and it was a big surprise and a big shock. I have a responsibility to do something with that now, don't I? I could just say she's gone, or I could live for her. The Highlander way. When she dies, her strength and her power and everything she had came into me. Her DNA is already in me. The great characteristics of her is in me, and I now live for her. And if I do things, I'm doing it for my mom. Because my mom said, Bradley, you make sure the use of your life outlives your life. I have responsibility. And she's in that little room, and she's overcoming these huge heart issues and these massive surgeries. And her crippled little fingers were bent like this. They were just total S's. And she grabbed my hand, squeezed as hard as she could with about 2 pounds of pressure. And she says, you just make sure that the use of your life outlives your life. And at that point, I'm at one of the lowest points of my life, where I could have easily said, you know what, I've done enough. I've done enough. But I got breath in me. I got life in me. And I can't stop. Why? Because it's my responsibility. How many people give up? Oh, man, it's been how many years now, Frank? Been doing this thing for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. Really? Is that how you feel? Come on. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 10,000 days, 26 years of life. You kidding? And he comes out and he says, I forgive you. Now, I don't know. I think I'm a pretty good guy, and I have a heart for people, but you throw me in jail for 26 years and beat me relentlessly, and now I'm the president? Oh, we're getting even. That's probably why I haven't been promoted to president, okay? Amongst many other reasons, all right? But my point is that he knew why he lived. Hurricane Carter, if you ever saw the movie The Hurricane. World champion of the world, middleweight fighter, on his way home from his championship bout. Gets pulled over. Some cop who had it in for him fingers him, goes to jail for 22 years for something he never did. And he's famous for quotes saying, these walls cannot hold me. I transcend above these walls and reach out beyond these walls, because he knew who he was. He knew his identity. He knew. Are you with me, guys? It's like that movie Gladiator, when the guy had been, his wife and child had been slain, and he'd become a gladiator and worked his way up to the big arena, and he's in the final battle, and the wicked king comes down and says, what's your name, slave? And he turns around and walks away, and all of a sudden he's like this, life or death in the thumb of the king. He says, what's your name? He says, my name is Marcus Aurelius. Loyal servant to the true king, Marcus Aurelius. He knew his name. And to me, it saddens me how many of us don't know our name. What I mean by this, we don't live with true passion. Because I'm telling you, folks, you are significant. You are important. You are valuable. People are counting on you. Have you ever counted on somebody? Then I'm going to promise you, there are a list of people that are waiting for you. Why? Because only you can help them. Why? Because only you have the DNA. Only you have that fingerprint. Only you is that human being that's been through that particular situation. People say, well, I've been through so much. Then you can help so many more people. Who makes the best Alcoholics Anonymous counselors? Thank you. Recovered alcoholics, not alcoholics. Here's what I do. Glug, 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 okay? We got to be recovered, which means I have to been there, felt it, overcome. If you've been to AA, met Bill, been to the 12 steps. If you've been to an AA meeting, which I've been to them, it's a powerful organization, wonderful organization, so significant because it reinvents how people think. Not everybody needs it, but a lot of people do. And they reinvent how they think. The fact of the matter is, if you've been there, you can help others. I believe that every one of us would like to say, when we look back on life, that my life mattered. Martin Luther King said the most pressing question in every man's heart is, what will be my contribution? I say your contribution is to be a leader. Leadership is defined by one word: influence. Oddly enough, the interesting word, that's the source of the word leader, L-E-A, path, der, finder. The word leader comes from the word pathfinder. In the early days, the pathfinder was those who could find the game trail, stalk the animal, kill it, and the survival of the clan was based upon their ability to feed. The pathfinder was responsible for the survival of all of its people. The leader is responsible to find the path for their people. That's who you are, folks. Like it or not, you're a leader. Everybody in this room is influencing somebody. The question is, how good a job are you influencing? Would you agree that every parent is an influence on a child? Just a lot of them are crappy at it. Because they don't care. They think it doesn't matter. And I'm sure this room is full of great parents, but I also bet this room is full of people who didn't have great parents. And you've seen the significant impact. Leadership, folks. Leadership means everything counts. Everything counts. That we have a calling on our life. He who holds the light for his friend sees his own path more clearly. He who holds the light for his friend, Frank, comes alongside me and holds the light. The value is I can see my path, but now he can see his path, because you know what his path is? To help me find my path. That's what a leader is. They influence. That's how I see this room. I don't know most of you, but you can either assume that title and that responsibility, or you can deny it. But the good news is it's your choice. Are you with me? It's your choice. You choose. That's the beauty of it. How do you want to live your life? It's up to you. If you can't get stirred by this and this, let me ask this question. How do you want to feel? I want to feel significant. I want to feel grace. I want to feel love. I want to feel like I mattered. I read a book called Tribes by Seth Godin. He says the most pressing thing on everybody's heart is they want to be missed. When they're gone, they want to be remembered. I think one of the saddest things I've seen in the world is going to a funeral for an 80-year-old man, and there's 15 people there. Go to a funeral for an 18-year-old, and there's 1,000 people there. Now, I don't get it. Either an 80-year-old, as everybody's died, or they stopped serving and stopped caring and stopped making an impact, and as a result, no one even knew. How can an 18-year-old have more impact than an 80-year-old? What happens between 18 and 80? What happens? How do we go from making huge impact to not? Let me tell you what happens. You take some beatings. And the result, you feel beaten. Instead of being broke, you're broken. Broke is economic. I can deal with that. Broken, I'm done. Right? There's a big difference between poor me and poor me. Poor me, P-O-O-R, or poor me, P-O-U-R, pour me into people. The 80-year-old probably lived life of poor me. If an 80-year-old lives their life the way Frank and Lorraine do, they have P-O-U-R, and they pour their life into people, and they have friends around the world. There's probably very few places in the world they could fly to and not know somebody and have a cup of coffee and share memories. I don't know about y'all, but I want to live that way. I want to finish well. You with me? How many is like that? I want to know my life matters. I want to live a life of celebration. I want to wake up happy. I want to go to bed exhausted because I served until my bones were tired. And I went to bed only to restore, to go do it again. The day begins at night. When you go to bed, you build momentum for the day, so you wake up, you just got restored. I just built momentum, so now my day is already on. It's on like Donkey Kong because I went to bed and my day started. My day ends when I go to bed, but it starts again when I go to bed. And I restore so I can go again. This is not about me. This is about you. I want to try to help put you in a position to where your input changes your thoughts. And your thoughts will change your words. And your words will dictate your actions. And your actions will determine this result. 5 years from now, we will all be living the sum total of the choices we make. Would you agree with that? Is it going to be any different than what we do? Right now, we are living the sum total of the last 5 years of life. Would you agree? 5 years from now, we'll all be living the sum total of the next 5 years. We're all going to arrive somewhere. The only question is, where? What determines where? What I do. What determines what I do? How I think and speak. What dictates how I think and speak? What I put in my head. What's going in your head? Most people respond to advertisements. Oh my gosh, it's winter, let's go snowboarding. Oh my gosh, it's spring, let's go fishing. Let's go hunting. Oh my gosh, it's summer. Oh, let's go outside. Oh my gosh, it's fall, it's getting cold. Let's buy winter stuff. Oh my gosh, it's 40 below, let's die. I don't know. Let's all be polar bears, okay? Let's fly south, let's be smart. We respond to the loudest noise. If you've ever seen a baby, what's a baby do? They hear things, right? Airplane, birdie, car, dada, right? They just respond to whatever's in their face. And we get older and we still do the same thing. It's just an airplane, dada. It's job, spring, summer, fall, baseball, football, hockey, whoa, softball season. And that's how we live. We respond to the noise. You know what I want to do? I want to make some noise. I want to make some noise in your life. I want you to make some noise that screams so loud that every season is vision. Not spring, summer, fall, winter. It's vision. Why? Because I'm about becoming the best human being I can be. On purpose, serving, adding value, lifting, being a lid lifter, being a pathfinder, and making an impact. Who's with me? Okay? There's a concept I studied recently called Genshai. How many of y'all heard of Genshai? Oh, good. Genshai, how many heard of Namaste? Okay, if you're around the yoga world at all. Namaste, lots of loosely held translations. Translation that resonates with me is from what is good in me, I bow to what is good in you. Some people say, to what is divine in me, I bow to what is divine in you. From the light in me, I see the light in you. Basically says, from what's good in me, I bow to what is good in you. It is a great level of respect, okay? Genshai basically means never, ever act in a way or do anything that makes anybody feel like they're lesser than you. It goes as far as even if you're like, I was in Vietnam recently working in orphanages and once again had a life-altering experience. But at night, after working, we'd walk around and get food at different types of street vendors. And inevitably, like most third world countries, there are poor people begging in the street. And, you know, you can't not give them something, even though they're everywhere. So Genshai says, you get down on your knees, and you look them eye to eye, you take what you're going to give them, and you give it to them as a gift from your heart to their heart. That even a homeless person, you share with respect. Even a person at the lowest form of life, I come to you and I see you. I see you. You know what I mean by that? I understand you. I feel you. I respect you. And from that connection, I can begin to lift. Most of you in here know Tim Goad. Tim Goad practiced Genshai with me, and he didn't even know what he was doing. Frank practiced Genshai with me, coming alongside me, getting face to face with me, seeing what's good, and lifting me. Not above me saying, get up, get up, get up. But by coming alongside and saying, I understand you, I feel you. And I know that in a room like this, many of you are hurting and struggling and frustrated and wondering why you're not doing more, why you're not advancing yourself, why you struggle, why do I procrastinate, why do I have fear, why don't I do more? I understand. What I would share with you, it is a result of your input. Frank, how many books did I have in my bag that I pulled out when I got here? 5 or 6. 6 books. It was only an hour flight. Okay? Now, I didn't read all of them, so don't be impressed. I'm a dyslexic, okay? So I read very slow. But I have hours in my hotel. I have hours at night. And every moment I'm not with people, I'm filling my brain tank. I'm not saying it because I'm something special. I know that my life, as I hope that you will learn, your life is a reflection of your input. And what's struggling in your heart and in your mind and in your focus and in your passion and your compassion. What does compassion mean? Passion is to suffer. Compassion is to suffer with. Suffering, I love that, Frank. She says, hey, suffering's not bad. Suffering's wonderful. If I was in the movie The Passion of the Christ, what was it about? His suffering. What does it mean? It means I care for you. I see you. I'm with you. Right? Apathy means no care. I do not care about your path. Empathy means I care with you. I care enough to bring you with me. I want to be with you. Empower, encourage, empathy. A lot of these words come from the same root. To come alongside and say, I'm with you. You know what Frank and I talked about 80% of our day today? You. In a loving way, both of us going, how do we help people find courage? How do we help people find boldness and purpose? Because we so badly want you to win. And the solution lies in your mind, but if your mind is TV, if your mind is internet, if your mind is movies, if your mind is the radio, if your mind is your CD collection of gangster music, or worse yet, country music, I happen to like both, mind you. But if the words are anything less than building people up, it goes away. And some country music is incredibly depressing. My dog died, my car won't start, lost my boots, I got a fart. I don't know how it goes, but... Or rap music, you know, if it's the degradation towards women or whatever, it's got to go. Why? Because this thing right here is the only one I got. 8-9 pounds of miracle. 8 or 9 pounds of miracle. Of abundant resource. At the mercy of what I put in every day. You follow me in this? And so many of us let our minds be random. We tell our kids to go to school and go to school and go to school and go to school because we believe in the concept of filling the mind with quality information so you can go out and do something. But we finish high school or college and all of a sudden we're done. And I'm not mad at you, but I think you can do more. I know you can do more, and I know you're better. And I'm going to promise you, it'll make you feel important, valued, loved, because your life becomes about practicing Genshai. Or do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Christ said that the only law that I ask you to follow is to love your brothers as I have loved you. Of all the Jewish laws, 3,000 of them, he goes, which one's most important? He says, to love your brother as I have loved you. All the great thinkers go down the same path. Now, Jesus is a little more than a great thinker. I'm not going to debate religion with you tonight or so forth, but probably fairly obvious where I stand. My point is this. That's what we're about. Oh, here's an interesting survey I read recently. They interviewed, I don't know if it was kids or adults, probably the same. And they said, of all the superpowers in the world, like strong or invisible, or I can see, or I can fly, or I'm like a rock, or I'm like rubber. You know, you see all the superhero movies out. Thor has the hammer. Of all the superpowers, which one do you wish you had the most? You know what the number one answer was? To fly. To fly. I wonder why. Because it's in our DNA to be free. And there's no probably greater feeling than the ability to fly. To just be able to get up and go and zoom, 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 zoom. That'd be great. Who as a kid wished they could fly? Right? Gosh, I wish I could fly. No! Wow! Probably never going to happen. Maybe. I don't know. But that was the dream, isn't it? Why? Because it's in our DNA, folks, to be free. It's in our DNA to be outside of the confines of the known world. To know that we're really free to reach out and do and serve and empower and impact. I want you to try to think about how amazing it would be to not have to leave and go earn a paycheck 50, 60 hours a week. To just spend all of your time serving and healing and empowering and uplifting and then reading and studying and becoming more filled so you can go serve. Because he who holds the light for his friends sees his own path more clearly. So the more I learn, the more light. But as Viktor Frankl says, if you want to shine the light, you got to endure a little bit of heat. You with me? If you want to shed the light, you got to be willing to burn. And in this world, if you're a light, you're a target. I used to walk in the office, happy. Hey, good morning, what's going on? Hey! Even when I had a job. But I was mentored differently. I was thinking differently. And I remember this one lady. Oh, my God. Here comes Mr. Happy Pants. I'm like, what? Why are you picking on me? Oh, God, I tried that PMA thing once. It didn't work for me. I'm like, honey, you got PM something, but it ain't PMA, all right? I don't get it. Grumpy comes in here, asking for their messages, their notes, their files, and you go, yes, 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 and you give them all to them. I come in, hey, good morning. Like, oh, God, what's so good about it? Why are you crabby at me? And you're nice to the creep. Isn't that fascinating? But the reality is your intensity exposes their apathy. And what that does is it eliminates the use of their excuse. Because you listen to how most people talk. How do most people talk? How you been? What's the most common answer? Not bad. Bingo. What you been doing? Little as possible. How's it going? Surviving. Anybody got some good answers? What's the best one you've heard? How you doing?
Above ground.
Above ground. Yeah, good one.
Still alive.
Still alive. Barely ticking. Ain't 10 feet deep yet. It's early yet, though. You never know. Might be the day. Isn't that amazing? What's the most common way to say goodbye? Take it easy. Hey, man, take it easy. Do nothing. Be average. Take the wide road. Take it easy. Now, I know I'm a little weird, but why do we say, hey, man, do nothing? But if I say, hey, man, be strong, you look like I'm a freak. I did that once. I was at a coach's meeting for baseball. My buddy Doug's name. I go, hey, Doug, be strong, man. He's like, huh? Be strong. He's like, oh, yeah, peace, right. He thought I was a retard. Dude, I'm loving on you. But it's weird, isn't it? What you been doing? Little as possible. How's your weekend? How's your lunch? Not bad. Did I ask if your lunch was bad? No. I asked you how's your lunch, and your answer was not bad. Okay, we got that out of the way. Now, how was it? We know it wasn't bad. Was it anything better than bad? Not bad. Isn't it amazing? It's incredible. I love the guys that are tired. How you doing? I'm tired. You're always tired. I know. I'm having one of those days. Again? How many times do you have one of those days? I'm having one of those days. That one was life. You kidding me? Get a grip. Or how about the girls that are always cold? I do. I'm cold.
I know.
Oh God, I'm cold. Get a jacket. Wear a sweater for God's sakes. I'm so cold, really. You're in a skirt this long and a little shirt. I wonder why you're cold. Our words, man. Our words dictate our actions, and our actions will reap a habit. What I want to help you create in your mind is what I call the bomb. The business owner's mentality. Okay? A business owner's mentality. The problem is that most of us are renters. We're not owners. Okay? And I'm not insulting you. I'm just calling it out the way I see it. Most of us rent. And when you rent, you don't really care. Ever had a rental car?
Oh, yeah.
Hit the curb. It's a rental. It's your new car? Oh, snap! And you jump out, and you look at the wheels, and you cry, and you pray over it, and please restore my rim. Because you care. If you rent a house your whole life, what's the point of that? Huh? You don't care. At the end of the month, you leave.
Yeah.
Dirty floors, big deal. If it's your house, take your shoes off, man. It's my house. No shoes. Okay. But I have holes in my socks. I don't care. Wear clean ones next time. It's my house. Rental house? Yeah, whatever. Go ahead, drop your garbage.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating how that's a problem. And see, a rental is kind of a month-to-month deal. And to me, it's a lot like a job. You work every month, you get paid for a month. You work a year, you get paid for a year. At the end of the deal, they give you checks, a little report card from the government. I don't want you to call them up here, but it says, thanks for the dough in the show. Start again next year. Boo. F-O-O. Boo. That's what it says. Boo. Because that's what you is. A boo. Because you start over every year. Okay? I ain't hating. I'm not hating. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that's a rental mentality. Work year after year, and all of a sudden you can't perform. What happens? Now, I know no one in this room will ever think they won't be able to perform. I know. But I think we also know there will be one day when we can't perform. And we just hope that we're ready when that does happen. Am I right or am I right? And you've all been through different stages. I used to be a professional athlete. There was a day I was in a bad car accident. I could no longer perform. Game over. What do you do then? I wasn't ready. Shift gears. A little while back, I had a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress in my life. My artery, my heart squeezed off, and my heart stopped. Start again, because here I am. But that was scary. And when I'm in the hospital down in the basement getting my MRI and all my little tests, and they put the dye and it goes through your heart and they do all that crazy tests, and I had a reaction to the dye, and it was just this horrible experience. And my doctor's looking at me going, what are you even doing down here? You're too young. I go, thank you, but I'm here because I have this issue, and look at the pictures and my heart is failing. He said, I don't know. We got to do some more tests. The reality is your heart's not moving properly, and it's not even in the right place. Have you been in a car accident? I go, 30 of them. Not good. Your heart's in the wrong spot. He goes, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to do more tests. Well, long story short, I am okay. And I've been healed and I've had a great breakthrough. But there's that time when you go, is this it? And I'm bawling and I'm squalling and I'm crying and I'm saying, I'm not ready. 11 years ago, January 11th, a lot of you know the story. I was in my private aircraft flying to California from Oregon. 27,000 feet, both engines decided to stop working. We'd gone really high to go over a huge thunderhead, and the engine and the fuel lines froze, and down we went. I don't know if you've ever been in an airplane with no engines, but it is very, very bad. They need engines. Gliding for 9 minutes. Through clouds, in the mountains, looking at the glide scope, no chance of airport, no chance of highway. We're in a remote part of Northern California, and there's no chance. And you have an opportunity to ask yourself, is it? I'm going to die. Maybe. Maybe not, but probably. You're thinking kind of fast because you don't want to get tied up on a real conversation, right? I got a lot of ground to cover here, okay, so to speak. And I'm having that conversation. And I don't know if you've ever been there. I imagine some of you have. Been told that there's a decent chance you're not going to live. And you have to take one of those little accountings. Am I done? Or is there more? I read a book by a pastor recently. He said the most difficult thing about his job is not sitting with the family when someone's died or meeting with someone that may be passing. It's meeting with someone that hasn't lived, that is about to die. And they have this deep regret going, I wish I would have, if I'd only. I should have done more. I wish I'd, ha, 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 ha. And that's the painful reality. If you saw the movie Courageous, and you watched the daddy, woo, and you watched him mourn. You see, the fact of the matter is you've got to come to grips with what it's all about. And I know for a fact somebody is counting on you, and you may not even know them yet. You may think you're one person in the world, but to the world you might be the person. I read a story recently about a Vietnam vet. 168,000 men have come home from Vietnam taking their own lives. 168,000. Worst war in American history. Came home from the war. Not long after being home, his wife left him with his child. Took the car, emptied the bank accounts. He takes the money that he has, goes down to the pawn shop, buys himself a .45, goes back in his bedroom, takes the gun to his mouth, has the hand on the trigger, and he hears, Daddy! Daddy, where are you? I need you. And he didn't pull the trigger. Because he finally realized there was something more about his life. And he came to grips with it. And this is what Viktor Frankl said in the concentration camps, that the man's search for meaning of life. When you know that someone's counting on you, you can endure the most horrific circumstances and environments man could possibly ever imagine. And that's the reality for all of our lives, folks, is people are counting on us. And I hope to God it doesn't take something that extreme to bring us to this level of Stanley Cup Game 7 excitement about your life. Because even if Edmonton miraculously did win the Stanley Cup sometime in the next 100 years, it's not yours. You'll celebrate as a fan, but it won't be yours. And I live in Seattle, and the Seattle Mariners are just this perpetual horrible baseball team. And trust me, if they get the World Series, I will be there. And I will scream and yell and freak out if they ever win. But it won't mean anything to my family economically. I want to have that Game 7 World Series Stanley Cup feeling every day of my life. And the way I do it is I know how I want to live. I know the people I'll fight for, I'll die for, I'll lay it down for, and I never forget. And this is what oftentimes shocks me when I see people struggling to build this business, to really apply themselves. It's only because we have dementia or something. We forget. We get, I don't know, numbed out, anesthetized by the world where we forget that there's someone saying, Daddy, where are you? I need you. When I was in that hospital and they let me go home a few days later, and in my room, you know what I said? Daddy, I need you. I'm lost and I'm scared and I'm alone and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I thank God for God. And I thank God for a few handful of people in my life that I believe He sent for my recovery, my restoration. Do you realize that you are that person for someone? And then there's someone else that is that person for you? That we're all one big family? That we're counting on each other? And for each of us, I don't mean to get too emotional on you here, but this is important, guys, that we take ownership of our peace. I'm shocked how many people are willing to collect their cans and bottles and recycle their garden leaves, but won't go out and really serve an impact and go across the street and show someone this business and offer them a chance to change their life. That will let other things get in the way of doing what they need to do to build their business, and yet they think they're doing their part by collecting their bottles and cans. I'm not saying it's bad to do bottles and cans. Of course it's not. It's a good thing. But if you have that mindset in all facets of your life and be a servant. Look at the big picture. Look at the big globe. Grab a hold of it and be a part of the solution. What Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see in the world. And you know what we all want to see? Kindness, caring, namaste, genshai, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. You know what that means? I can't not share my business with everybody. I watched Frank and I'm so inspired today because he has to talk about it. If I mean literally, I went down to grab my cup of coffee and he left me because he found someone else to talk to. I took too long. Oh, I'll just wait here. Right on. That's great. Look at my phone. He's talking to the next guy over here. Now what you understand is because his vocation and his avocation match. What he does for a living and what he loves are the same. You follow me? You see, in doing so, when you go through some of these drills, I want you to get in touch with what you love. What you love, what stirs you, man. What rocks you? Is it your kids? Is it your grandkids? Is it your country, your culture, your faith, your environment, your music, inner city, overseas? What is it? And get a hold of it and just create noise. Create the noise in your life. Because when you do this, your life is a natural extension. In our world, we would call what Frank was doing today prospecting. That's stupid. No, it's not. He's not prospecting. He's sharing his life. This one gal decided to do a little battle with Frank today. And I'm like, oh, lady, you're in big trouble. By the time we were done, man, that lady knew the Bible. She knew everything. And she's like, uh-huh, you're right. Yeah, no, exactly. It was incredible because his conviction didn't back down one bit. All about love. Because his vocation, his application is the same. Now, how does that happen? How does that happen? Because he lives it. He fills his heart up every day. He knows that this business can change their life. He knows that a couple $100,000 a year changes anybody in this room's life. It gives us the opportunity. When I was in Vietnam, and I'm working with these kids, the things we could do with just 50 grand. There was 100 and some kids in this orphanage we spent most of our time in. About a third of them had AIDS. The other 2/3 were, well, they're all severely mentally and physically handicapped. They're so deformed, some of them barely looked human. I don't know what that disease is when their head gets real big. Encephalitis, that's it. I'd never seen it before. In North America, it's treatable. There, they just get big and then they split and then they die. It's horrible. Horrible way to live. And these other kids, you know, they got all these deformities. Let alone they don't speak English. And what they do speak is probably very broken Vietnamese because of their challenges. But to spend days and days and days looking in the eyes of these children and connecting at a soul level was so overwhelming. You had to hide your tears because they would laugh if you'd cry. I don't know. I don't understand that reaction, but someday I will. It's like they don't want you to cry, so they laugh, so you stop crying, so you're happier. But I remember as I was going around, and I was just being with kids, and I'd pick them up. You ever pick up a child with AIDS? It's a very interesting sensation. It's like I'm putting my life right there. You could give me that, and I could have that for life. And you pick them up, and you're trusting God for protection, and you feel like you're good. I'm not advising anybody to do this. This was my choice. I was suggested not to do it, but I did it anyways, simply because I felt these children never, ever got held. And if you could have seen the joy in their faces when I took them from laying down, because they can't even sit up, to going vertical and holding them and walking around, the joy and their bodies retching and just so overwhelmed that someone would take the risk and love on them. And there was this little boy who's following me around, and he walked on his ankle bones. He had feet, but they were so bent under that he calloused his ankle bones, and he walked like this, and he'd follow me around. And every time I'd stop, he'd grab hold of my leg. And he'd look at me, right? And so how could you go, yeah, beat it, kid. You know, you pick him up, right? And so one of the ways I connect with kids there is I would sing for them. Not very good, but good enough, right? And I was just singing songs that meant something to my heart. And I was walking around, and next thing you know, this little guy who doesn't speak English, who probably doesn't speak Vietnamese, is singing the song with me. And I look at him and I go, and I'm not going to do what I did, but I'd sing and he'd sing back, and I'd sing and he'd sing back. And all of a sudden there was this connection. I got my iPhone out and I said, I got to record this. Shing! Turn the camera around, and we'd sing and he'd sing, and all of a sudden he's looking at that iPhone going, wait a minute. There's no mirrors in this place. They've never seen themselves. They don't want them to because of the extreme scenario. But this boy was fairly healthy in this area. But he'd say something, he'd sing, and then he'd look, and it would be the exact same thing. He'd go, ah! And he'd sing and back and forth. Next thing you know, he's just screaming and yelling. How did he get a little body in that little screen? Imagine their brain. It's a mini person. How does a person get in there if they've never seen a video camera or anything like that? It was just so dynamic to watch this explosion and to see that connection and to hold them and rock them. You'd pick up kids that were stiff as a board, and you'd hold them and you stroke their back, and they just go, and they would just go limp. And you realize, you know what? I may not change a life, but I give them their Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I may never win a Super Bowl, but I may go to a Super Bowl, and I may have that experience. Remember when. And their Super Bowl may be that time that white guy picked him up and just held him for a little while. That they can live in those memories and go, remember when, in their hearts and their minds. It's such a special thing to be able to have the time and the money to be able to go out there. And I didn't say a word for days on end. You just smile, laugh, sing, and you communicate through a completely different function. I really, really, really encourage every one of you to do this once or twice in your life if you haven't already. It will change you in such a profound way. If nothing else, go to the orphanages here in Edmonton if you can't travel overseas, and just volunteer some time. Go to the burn ward, go down to the particular environments and just serve and let your life be changed. Because when you see this, when you understand this, you can't not do it. Is that even the right way to say it? You have to. It's so deeply embedded in you. If you know that you want to live free, if you know you want to change your life forever, you've got to find a way to stir the deepest emotions. You've got to find a way to get that mentality that I will do whatever it takes. As long as it's honest and legal, doesn't violate any of the laws, I will do whatever it takes. Fear is not an issue. If I'm driving on the road, I look in the rearview mirror and my house is on fire. You think I'd say, but I'm afraid of fire. My kids are inside. What am I going to do? If I only had time, I'd go back there. But I'm late for work. Maybe I should call 3 friends and get their opinion before I go back to my house. Maybe I should do a Google search and see what it's all about. Or are you just going to think and throw that e-brake on, do a 180 rip, and fly back there, park on your lawn, on your yard, bolt through the door, fire hit you in the face, belly crawl down, and you will save your family, or you'll lay your life down in the process of doing it. Why? Because the need is so great that you can imagine not. And all the excuses that you've embraced for not getting things done go away. I am certain that in a room this size, some of you have had children that have been in life-threatening situations, and life stopped to take care of that child, didn't it? For weeks on end, sometimes months. You found that focus, you found that passion, and it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. What I want to try to help you get there is so you can dial in to do what you know what you need to do to build your business. This business is not tricky, right? I mean, it's such a simple business. What do? We consume for ourselves, right? A couple $100 in products that we use. 5 products a day is all we consume. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 customers. Wow, so overwhelming. I don't know. Let me see. Children in orphanages, 4 customers. Oh! I mean, really, seriously. But when you look at how you want to live, and you look at the little dot that's keeping you from living that way, you're like, what? It's incredible. But it's not the size of the dot. It's the noise that the dot makes that gets you distracted off of this. The job yells, the health yells, the family yells, the family reunion, the corporate deal, the next big bonus. I need you to work overtime right now. You want a promotion, you got to dance to do this. Oh, it's this sport. I made a commitment to my team. Right? Or I got to play video games. Whatever else people happen to have as a distraction in their life. I mean, it's so silly. But it's the noise that attracts us, like the child airplane birdie, right? So my advice to you is when you decide, look, I'm going to live this life, then tip number 1 is you've got to build an environment of empowerment. You've got to build an environment that is screaming at you all day, every day. Screaming at you. Telling you that you're a winner, that you're a champion, that you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. There's nothing you can't do. People love you. You love them. Affirmations should be on your mirror. Every one of your mirrors should have affirmations all over them. And you need to say them. I'm not the first person to tell you this, am I? No. But if I came to your house and inspected your affirmation sheet, I would guess a lot of people would fail. Not mad. Change. I have no right to be mad. Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm a reminder. That's it. A Post-it note. Okay? That's it. I'm just a messenger. I'm nothing. Okay? I'm not. Please don't take my passion and don't confuse it for arrogance. The difference in confidence and cocky is a fine line, agreed? But the difference where the heart falls. And my heart is with you. I want you to win. I want to cry with you. I want to run with you. I want to travel with you. I want to feed children with you. I want to build orphanages with you. I want to see your victories. I want to celebrate. I want that so bad. You know why? Because the purpose of my life is to help people have the life. That's the purpose of my life. The most fulfilling thing in my life is seeing people realize who they are. The identity crisis has led to an energy crisis. If I don't know who I am, I don't know what I do. If I know who I am, from the standpoint of my Father in heaven, if you don't mind me saying that, to my family here, to my vocations, to my visions, if I know who I am, then what I do is not work. It's just an extension. If you're a daddy, you don't have to work at it. You're a daddy. By definition, dad. Now, you're either going to wear that responsibility or not, but there's nothing changing the fact that you're a dad. Same thing with a mom. It is what you are. You can't change that. When you know who you are and you grab a hold of it, all of a sudden, everything you do in your life is about what? Making this happen. And anything that is not about this has got to go. So the environment has to change. The second thing you got to do is you got to get rid of the stuff that's not about this. Any input in your life that is not consistent with how you want to live, it's got to go. Not because I said so, but if you want to honor your intentions, then make your environment honorable. Agreed? I'm not mad at you. I'm not telling you how to live. I'm not telling you told me I can't have friends. Nope. I'm telling you choose your friends wisely. The same thing you told your kids when they were little. And how many adults stop choosing their friends wisely? It was one of the first little Sunday school lessons you ever learned. I would ask you what's in your car. What are you listening to? What's your input? What's on your computer? Oh, whoa. What's on it? Video games? Poker channels? Moral distractions? I'm not the judge. Okay, I'm not the judge. I'm saying, is it honorable? Does it honor you? We're building a culture of honor, a culture of valor. How many like the sounds of that? Only a few of you. A culture of valor. I want to be part of a culture where excellence is the standard, but grace is the word. Nobody's better. Genshai. I meet everybody as equal. I love everybody in the same way. I practice and experience do unto others as I'd have them do unto you. I live on that plane. But excellence is my standard. I'm not talking about communism where everybody's equal with no dream and no hope. I'm talking about everybody is equal in the area of love. And we have passions and things we want to do in life where excellence becomes our standard, but grace our words when we set the standard, but we miss, we forgive ourselves. And we get back up and we go again and we go again and we go again and we go again and we go again. Why? It's our calling. We all want to be free. We all want to fly. We all have the nagging question, what is the purpose of my life? Man's search for meaning. It's just so many titles. Just reading Deepak Chopra's book. Same concept. Grabbing these things that stir you and living by them. So you have to build environment empowerment. You got to clean up the environment. Then you got to build some daily covenants. Because if I don't change what I listen to and what I think, what I speak, I sure as heck won't change what I act. My actions, I got to get in play. There are things that I have to do. And I know that within your organization, you have fundamentals that are taught to do every single day. Now, here's my belief. If you start here, you'll fail. It's like saying, I'm going to do a diet. Problem with the diet is the first 3 letters. Right? So most of us set diets. We join health clubs. We buy new exercise equipment. And they make great tie racks. Okay? Because we start with the action. The action is a reaction to our heart. If you don't change your heart, your action will not stay consistent. That's why you stop, start. That's why you go to functions like you did in November and you were stoked out of your mind and you hauled off and did nothing. Why? Because you tried to change here without changing here. If you changed here, then you changed here. If you changed here for a little while, it fell off and you go, why did I fall off? Why did I fall off? Because you didn't change this. More than likely. Every time I have failed in my life, and I have some big failures, I can trace every single one of them to my poor choices of input. Every one, every time. Very rarely do we act alone. Very rarely is it fully our idea. Input, thoughts, words, action, habit. Character is what consumes me. Character is automatic. Someone cuts you off in the road, what do? Oh, precious person, they must be late. Or is it more like, hey, you son of a, what are you, American? Well, I don't know what you guys say. And you beat on them with your, in your car like they really heard you. Like they felt your anger and you just, and it went in their car and they, poof, a little mine explosion. That's about as dumb as yelling at a TV at a sporting event. Oh my God, can you believe it? No, they can't hear you. It's amazing to me, okay? My character is my future. And if I want to change my character, the carving in my soul, inscribed in stone, carved in wood, carved in my soul. And if I want to change my character, which was formed over decades, I got to come back here and get after my input. And if I get after my input in a radical way, and I begin to fill my mind every day with my vision. Oh, it's kind of silly. I remember this guy come to my office once, and it was my boss, actually. I had pictures on my desk. He goes, what are those? I go, dude, that's a Porsche, an airplane, and a house. You having a bad day? My question is that. They go, oh, yeah. I suppose those are your dreams. I suppose you think you're going to have those someday, huh? I'll never forget it. Like it was yesterday, and that was many, many years ago. And I go, you know what, Randy? You know the difference between you and me is? You don't have the guts to even dream them. And I know I'll have them. That's the difference. Because a lot of world like to criticize the dreamer, don't they? It's amazing. It's like you just became a target. Well, you know what? Bring it on, baby. Too hot for you, just right for me. Too hard for you, I'm just getting warm. Why? Because my passion is far stronger. Why? Because the pain of not doing it is greater than the pain of doing it. The pain of not doing it is seeing these children around the world suffer because I didn't do something about it. I'll never forget the little girl at the gate crying my name. Kuya! Never forget me! I will never forget it. Screaming and crying with both hands on the deal as I'm leaving after spending a day at the orphanage, and she's bawling because we had a wonderful, beautiful day, and so she's saying, never forget me, please come back for me, which I wasn't able to do. It happened right before 9/11, and that was even worse. The terrorism happened. We couldn't even go over there anymore. But I never forgot her, and it imprinted in my mind. When I'm with these kids, and I'm in wherever it happens to be, feeding children in the mountains of Nicaragua, and they're this tall because they've never really had any kind of genuine food, and they're full grown, with children on their hip, and they're this tall. And I'm realizing, why do people live this way? For lack of vision, my people perished. There's no dream built into life, and they make poor choices. To go in there and say, I think I can make a difference here. It matters to me. I may not be able to change the world. Bill Gates, one of the wealthiest guy in the world, he recently reported after spending millions of dollars in research that his greatest input he can make to make an impact in the world is a toilet seat. I'm thinking, come on, man. You created DOS and bought DOS and created Windows and XP and some of the greatest softwares in the world, and the greatest impact you can make with $50 billion is a toilet seat? For God's sake, what does it do, fly? What the article went on to say is that the number one killer in the world in third world countries is dysentery. Unhealthy sanitation. They go into the bathroom and they go in an open hole. Or they have unclean water because the result of that. And if he can impact the world with his billions and billions of dollars, him and Warren Buffett have come together with tens of billions of dollars, their investment will be in sanitation. Something we all basically take for granted. But I think, what could be my piece? What can I own? What can I not live without? What can be a greater burden on my heart than afraid of someone saying no to me in my little business here? What's more powerful than I'm a little too busy, stop and talk to this guy at Starbucks for 5 minutes and potentially get his name and build a friendship and see what they're all about? I got to make the noise so great that I think about 24/7. Or at least a chunk of the time, however your priorities are working out. But you get to a point where it's your focus. to where you're saturated. You follow me on this? Just my personal experience, as well as what I've been through. My walk with God, I have been saturated. Nothing happens in my life without it going through that filter. Saturated. It's the same kind of concept. When you fell in love, you were saturated with love. Everything went through the filter of love, didn't it? Every song. It didn't matter if it was raining. Oh my God, I love the rain now. We're singing in the rain. And because you're saturated with it. It's so deep, it's woven in the fabric of your heart. Well, I want to challenge you to take the time to get saturated with the calling in your life. And when it does, your discipline is an automatic reaction. Obedience is not an issue. Obedience is an extension of my soul. Discipline has never been a problem in this world. It's the motivation, the dream, the passion, that's the issue. When I work with kids in the Philippines, anong pangalan mo? And then I go, what is your name? Or anong pangarap mo? What is your dream? Most common answer, wala na. Nothing. Bakit? Why? My dream. I was born this way, I'll die this way. They have no hope, they have no dream. And to me, it's no different than being in the inner city. Say, why do you live here? And they go, well, where else would I go? I go, anywhere but here would be a good start. They're broken-minded. The guy on the side of the street holding the sign says, I'm broke, I'm starving, will you help me? What's broke? His mind. And we see it. We saw the guy begging at the grocery store today. We see the guy begging to get a job. What's broken is their mind. Now you know that, and I know that. But I tell you this, there's no difference between the man on the street and you, and Warren Buffett, or Bill Gates, or Franklin Lorraine Nicholas, or Brad Wogelmott. The difference is in the mind, not the body. The body is in discipline, obedience to the mind. And if you feed the mind dictates the body. So there's no greater use of your time than to make sure that your input is absolutely just smash, bang on. Then what we do, automatic. Do you remind yourself to tell your kids you love them? Able to post a note. Make sure you tell Timmy, I love you. Oh yeah, oh wait. Love you. No. It is who you are. And when you get to grips with this, that's who you become. So that business owner's mentality becomes automatic. You follow me on that? It's such a beautiful thing when we come to grips with that. You guys, when you understand what we're in here, I mean, seriously, okay, we've talked about it. We're going to do personal use for a what? What do you teach, Frank? A couple hundred PV in personal use? Okay, 150? Good. It's the exact same thing we teach. Personal use, about 150 PV in retail. Right about right? For real, guys? For real? Everybody can do that? If you, well, I can't afford 100 PV, then do 100 PV in retail. Stop whining, for God's sakes. What am I changing the world? I love the guys that go, oh, I'm tired. I got to go to bed till I got to get up at 6 in the morning. We're talking about changing the world, and you're worried about BBT? Betty Boo time? Oh, my God, I got to drive, brush my teeth, get in my PJs. It's going to be like 11. Oh, my God. Tomorrow, I might be tired. And yet, isn't it incredible? How many people say, I'm tired? Oh, I was going to go, but, I was late at work, so I couldn't make it over to that thing at the Sawtooth Inn or whatever we're at here. Follow me? Seriously, guys, if you don't represent what this feels like, no one will follow you. You got to represent. You have to lead. You got to be the pathfinder. You got to hold the light. You follow me in this? You got to practice that gensai, that love and that respect, and connect with the hearts and say, where does it hurt? Insulting never gets anything done. Hugs gets it all done. It's all done with love, folks. It's all done with where does it hurt? How can I help you? What's going on? How can we come together? How can we build some energy around what you want and what you don't want so you move? Compassion to suffer with. That's the concept of a team. They come together. You follow me on this? And so what do? We traveled the world, if you will, and the world's all relative, Edmonton and Calgary, looking for what? Broken people, hurting people. And they may not walk around, with a crutch, but in their heart, I know this. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's fighting something. Could be money, could be time, could be the spirit, could be the relationships, could be the health, could be their family members, could be their country. Everybody is hurting. The question is do you have the patience, the time, the love, the grace, the discernment to find it? And then to show them a solution. I don't ever show the plan. I show a solution to a connection that we have together. And by asking and asking, I watched Frank ask this a couple different times. He goes, well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? Well, I know what I don't want. No, what do you want? Well, I just know I don't want that. No, what do you want? Do you want more time? Do you want to have more money? Do you really want to be on better people? What do you want? Well, I want to be on better people. Great, we should talk. Right? We guys call that like the 4 keys or something like that. I watched it like, whoa, he actually does it. Like all the time. Okay? You guys should just follow him and just pick up his prospects. Just follow him around because his phone's full of thousands of them. It'll never get to you. There's no way. If you can get 5 or 6 in our 2 hours, I mean, we're crying out loud. My point is, if anybody's struggling for this, I'm not saying this to be mean. You're just not trying. And the reason you're not trying is because there's another noise in your life yelling louder. So when you're in the Starbucks line, you're thinking about the noise versus thinking about this. So when you're at the bank, you go, I got to do my banking. I got to go because I got to do this because I'm yelling to the noise versus this is my noise. This is what's yelling. It's the children. It's my family. It's my ministry. It's my country. It's my culture. It's the heartbeat of my life. When my heartbeat is here, I can't not do it. The amount of energy we spend feeding our mouths should be pale in comparison to the time we spend feeding our minds. So many guys join health clubs and spend 30, 40, 50 bucks a month to work on these things that are worth what? 20, 30 bucks an hour maybe? And this baby up here is worth millions. And we join clubs. We give them a monthly fee so we can sweat off what we ate and get muscles. Or go to yoga and stretch and do all our stuff. That wasn't a very good yoga pose, but I do yoga, but I'm not very good at it. I'm working at it. But with 23 bucks per yoga session, right? You buy an advanced membership, maybe down to 15 to 20, but it's expensive. Why? Why do you yoga? Stretching, conditioning, meditation, mind, heart, soul, to relax, to decompress. I understand that. But why are these multi-billion-dollar industries, and yet you haven't read a real super high-quality book and underlined and highlighted and wrote a blog about it? In how long? Every book you read, you should highlight, note it, write a blog, and post it. Why? Because information in you is no good unless you give it to somebody else. Because the world's full of overeducated derelicts. The purpose of information is transformation. Right? So I can be lit to light your way. That's why I go to the fire. So I can get on fire. Because guess what? One log fires don't burn very long. Do they? One log fires don't burn very long. Are you with me? So what do? We gather together so we can burn. We come together here, set the inferno, so we can go out on fire and go light someone on fire. And share the love and the energy. How do we retain that? How do we hang on to that? How do we sustain anything? Keep feeding it. Keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it, and build this heart and this soul and this purpose to impact people's lives. You follow me? We don't need to go out and show the plan. We need to go out and heal people. We need to practice genshai. We need to practice doing to others that you have them do unto you. We need to practice the concept of caring and then sharing. The mistake is that we do what I call skimming. Just surface little digs. Surface little digs. Just enough to find a little need and bam, you try to show them a solution. That's like walk in the doctor's office and the guy comes and greets you and says, well, you're in a doctor's office, obviously you're sick, so drop your pants, and he's holding a big syringe. I'm going to give you a shot. Don't you want to know a little more about what's wrong? Nope. I'm a doctor, you're in a doctor's office. You're sick, I have the solution. Not good. We would run. And yet how many people are practicing that in this business? Giving it a bad name. Salesmen. We're in the greatest business in the world. No organization has created more millionaires than this corporation has around the world. Nobody can claim that success. And we're selling? No. We're buying. We're interviewing. We're consulting. We're designing a model to fill the needs in their life. And you know what the needs might be? Time, money, association. They may just need to get what? Can I share what you told me about one of the reasons you got in this business? About the drinking thing? That's probably on your public testimony, but Frank got one of the primary reasons he got in this business is because he wanted to get around people who didn't drink. Is that okay to say? Oh, okay. Okay? How powerful is that? 13 years you struggle with alcohol? Wow. I just spoke in Australia for a gentleman that was, I can't remember how many, 20-some years he was an alcoholic. 20-some years now he's a double diamond, makes millions of dollars, has people all over the world, in all over the countries. And because he got around a different kind of association in his life, he needed to be around people that made different kinds of choices to influence different choices. Oh my God. How incredible is that? One log fires don't burn long. Set yourself on fire, folks, and go hustle up next to someone. They may be just a piece of kindling, dried up, old dead piece of wood, but it still burns. It still burns. And sometimes some old, crusty, dusty people look like an old dead piece of wood, but you set them on fire and everything changes. You turn an alcoholic into one of the most significant Canadians in history. Amongst many other stories, I am sure. I wish I knew more. But I can't wait to hear your tapes and hear your testimonies and share time with you and cry with you and break bread and say, tell me your story. What happened? Where'd it come from? Timmy Goad, you know? His dad was a homeless 13-year-old boy. And the man came and says, I'll offer you a place to sleep and a warm meal if you come to church with me. And he comes to church and he becomes a massive evangelist and raises this tribe of goat kids. That ends up being a $600 million, 180-country movement. 5,000 volunteers. Because his homeless dad had someone reach out to him and say, I want to help you. Do you realize that's what we're doing here? Every time we walk around, we're walking next to dead wood. They just need someone to say, hey, I care. Where's it hurt? How's it going? And what stops us from doing that? Well, I don't want to be invasive. I say invade. If you don't want to call it invasion, call it caring. If a doctor didn't ask you what's wrong, wouldn't you go to a different doctor? So that's our concept, is we ask, we care, we dig. And if we don't find a need, then we don't show them. Right? That's what we do. We're talking about, I don't know what your goal is. If your goal is to get financially free, probably Ruby Business does it, if not an Emerald. $100,000 income for most people, you're done. That is 12 to 15 months of walking every day of your life with compassion for human life. That's what it is. Compassion. Looking at the world through the honest eyes of pain and grace. The world is hurting. I love them. I don't judge them. And I'm part of the solution, not part of the problem. If I do nothing, I'm part of the problem. When someone is all alone in dark and depression, leaving them alone is the worst thing you can do. The best thing I can do is insert myself and add value. Well, we're all somewhere between living and dying. We're all living somewhere between deep depression and complete celebration. Would you agree? And that's all we're about here, is walking through life looking for those that hurt and find a way to serve them and heal them. It's not tricky business. But most of it is our perspective shift. I'd be willing to bet every one of you is hurting, and hardly anybody knows it. But yet you wish they did. And you wish you could find someone that felt your pain, that walked in your shoes, that understood the grief in your heart, that would come alongside you right now and say, I understand. Here's my testimony. Here's my story. And you feel great relief. Now, if you don't think that way, it's only because you're so hardened by your pain that you're in that F-you mentality, if you don't mind me saying that. I don't care what you think. You can't help me. You don't care. It's all fake. It's all pretend. And all that means is they've been hurt more. And I'll never trust again. But that is not true. That is true. Light always overcomes dark. And enough light, eventually the darkness goes away. And enough love, and enough grace, enough time, enough caring. That's why when you say, how you doing? Most guys go, pretty good. Not bad. That mean nothing. Until you ask how they're doing, and you're sitting across saying, no, seriously, bro, how are you? What's going on, man? Let's talk. I got nowhere to go. Like to watch off. What's up? Talk to me. I'm your friend. How often has that ever happened in your life? How many times have you said, no one really knows how I feel? And it's true. Yet we get to understand this. And when we know, now we are challenged to go do something about it. Because to whom much is given, much is required. And what I've been given is insight to the hurting soul of the world. I have a solution. It's called an incredible system. It's called me. It's called our company and our products and the things we do. I have a solution. And that solution might be 3 years of mentorship before they ever show one plan. We're talking about Larry Winters. 6 years in the business, didn't do jack. Now he has tens of thousands of people. Danny Snipes, 7 years, 1,000 PV. 2 years later, executive diamond. How? What changed? You know what he said? I found who my father was. What does that mean? I got my identity. I got grounded. I knew who I was. Now I can push off. Anybody skate? Try to skate in the air. Don't work. You got to push from what? Solid ground. What's solid ground? Identity. Knowing who you are. And when you know who you are, what you do is an extension of that. Where you're going is your calling. It comes to you in your sleep. It comes to you in your dreams. It comes to you in songs. You're just on the road. You're just driving, and you're just all of a sudden you're getting downloads. This is what I'm supposed to do. Some of you are having a download tonight. Some of you are having a breakthrough, an epiphany, a moment when you're waking up going, I do matter. I am important. My struggles weren't punishment. They were teachers to go help other people. Not teachers to whip a lesson on you. Teachers to help you go save others. You follow me in this? I don't believe God punishes people. I believe we go through things so we can go help other people. I don't fully understand the whole concept, but all I know is that in every adversity is the seed of an equal or greater benefit, and one of those benefits is I can say, I feel you, I see you. And when someone knows they're seen, they feel loved. And when they feel loved, it's the guy with the gun is now saying, the little baby, Daddy, where are you? I need you. And that's going on all over the world. And the biggest challenge is we become islands. If we can open up, connect, and take that chance. That's the beauty of it. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain by reaching out and empowering and impacting people's lives. That's the beauty of it. And I'm thrilled to be part of this. I'm thrilled to be part of this great awakening of the world that says, I matter, you're a matter, you are important, let's come together. The awakening of our world is, I want to make a difference. It's more important to me that I made a contribution than it is that I've made money. Most meetings I do, I hear people say, I don't need much, but I want to make a big impact. And I fully comprehend. I still think you need a lot because people are going to come to you with, I'm getting foreclosed on. I need $6,000, $10,000, $15,000. My child's in this issue. So-and-so wants to go to the Olympics and they need a sponsor. So-and-so's been in a car accident and they need therapy. Okay, I got it. If the phone doesn't ring for you right now with those kinds of questions, you know why? They already know your answer. Because there are people that know you, that need you. And if you place yourself in a position to serve and empower and impact, then the phone will ring and you will be blessed by the opportunity to serve and to give and to heal. You feel me? You understand? You are worthy. You are able. You are capable. You are responsible. There's a reason your heart beated differently tonight. There's a reason you drove across the plains of central Canada, wherever we are, Alberta, risking life and limb to get here. There's a reason why you were here versus drinking beer, watching the game tonight or whatever. There's a reason. I don't believe in accidents. I believe in divine appointments and divine providence, and I believe that we are here. I believe Frank and I have come together in our life at this divine time because we need each other. Because we're both broken angels with one wing and we got to hook up. Right? No offense, Lorraine. I'm a guy's guy, okay? You're awesome, though. My point is, there's a reason. And I didn't even know any of you 4 months ago. But I got a great feeling there's something very significant about our future. And I just hope that you will run with me and grow with me and cry with me and share with me and read and study and advance and really come to grips with this calling on your life. So that 2 and 3 and 4 years from now we can look back going, what a journey we've been on. That's the fun thing about Diamond Club. It's sitting around in the hot tub or the pool going, tell me your story. How'd you get here? Tell me about leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. Really? Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Yeah, this guy. And you tell the stories. Where were you? What were you doing for a job? How much money did you used to make? Oh my gosh. What was your life like? Bop, bop, bop. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's amazing, incredible. And we share and we laugh all the time and we cry and we go, oh my, can you imagine where we'd be if we hadn't done this? Imagine. We just, that's the beauty of it. It's a bunch of gladiators taking all their armor and swords and shields off, and we just sit there and go, how you doing? And then we connect, and we build friendships, and then we charge each other up so we can go out and do it again. Because a life worth living is a life worth serving. Every man can be a leader because every man can serve. Every man can make an impact. Every woman, man, we all have the capacity. So grab a hold of it, answer the questions, come to grips with how you want to live. And make it so loud that nothing trumps it. Nothing trumps it. You follow me? If you are living your avocation and vocation together now, wonderful. If what you love and what you do are the same, wonderful. But if that's not the case, then what you love needs to yell and scream and create all the noise so that you don't have a waking moment without doing something about it. And together we'll do amazing things. So I appreciate your time. I hope that helped out a little bit. Frank, do you want to maybe do a little something? So I have no idea what time it is. Is it like midnight or something? Who cares? It's who cares time. So let's have it for Frank Miklas, and I appreciate your time tonight.
You're the one.
Well, we're partners, buddy.
Thank you so much. I love you, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.